Hello friends, welcome to Benchmark Boutique. I'm Cassandra and I'm happy to be crafting with you today. Today we are going to be making this cute little three-dimensional recycling bin. You have a cute little recycle logo and this nice shape. I love to use these for crafting. They are great for holding paper scraps that happen naturally when you're using your electronic cutting machine. So this is a wonderful thing to make for a crafter or really any kind of little project just to hold your bits and bobs. And they're these cute little sizes. So without further ado, let's get started. This is a great place to stop your video and go ahead and make sure you have cut out your materials, and then we will meet right back here and we will go over the instructions for assembly. Okay, you should have all your materials cut out. And now we're going to start assembling. We're going to start folding. I'm using the bone folder. It's actually plastic, but called the bone folder. And what I'm doing is on each side, there are some scored lines, and I'm folding each of those down so that they are already creased, and these are going to get rolled into a cube shape that's going to form the edge of the recycle bin. And I'm just going to go around and now, using the magic of fast forward, do that to each side of the recycle bin. So make sure you get all the creases on all four sides so we can make that overhanging edge. And I like to have on top the flap, which you can see because it's got the little slanted edges, and then the little rectangle right above the flap folded so that they are ready to glue. And I'm using a tacky glue here just because it's a liquid glue, so I have a little bit of forgiveness, a little bit of wiggle room, but it's a pretty strong adhesive. So depending on what type of paper or cardstock you're using, you can make sure that it holds. And I'm just rolling those creases now to put the glue on the flap, and I'm rolling those creases to form that overhang. And again, it should look pretty rectangular-like in shape. Rolling the flap, pressing down, make sure the glue is making contact with the base, and doing this on every single side. Again, I am fast forwarding through this. You can pause the video, go back and rewatch whatever you need to make sure that you are understanding how the process works. But once you get one side down, the other three sides are basically the same. And once we have all four edges done, now we're going to crease along what will be the base of the recycling bin, so that we have those. And we have some side flaps that we are going to glue, and this is going to give that classic angled look to the recycle bin. You want to make sure that you get those flaps angled in so that when you are gluing here in a minute to get the sides lined up, that everything is where it should be. So I've got all four flaps pre-folded. I'm just testing to make sure things close right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and just make sure things are lining up the way I like. This actually gets glued on top after you have attached the corner pieces. I'm really just using it as a guide. It's not necessary, but I've made a few of these and I find it helpful just to make sure I get each of the flaps glued in right. So now that I'm fairly confident in what the direction I'm going, I'm gluing all four of the flaps, and then I'm going to press and hold them to the longer edges once I finish gluing. And I'm just going to hold it there for a second, give it time to dry. And I'm going to take that very top piece that I use as a guide, and I'm going to float it over the bottom and roll it down a little bit just to make sure that everything is lining up the way it's supposed to. Here you can see squeezing the flap. It's okay if a little glue comes out. You can always wipe up the excess. Most of the glues that we use for crafting do dry clear. Obviously know what your product that you're using does. So press and hold, get the last flap done. And there we go. We have all four flaps glued down, and I really want to make sure it's holding tight. This one came a little loose. I'm going to make some adjustments. You really want to spend some extra time making sure everything is lined up, because a little bit off and you can get a little slant in your recycle bin. So here I am, again, not required, but I just like to use this as a guide. Slide it down the bottom, make sure all four sides line up, double check everything, repress it with my fingers, making sure the glue is adhered, working my way around all the edges, making sure everything's right where I want it to. And once I'm satisfied, I'm going to very gently slide this piece off, because again, this is really for the top. Just dual purpose here on this stage of the assembly process. And the next step is going to be adding the corner pieces, kind of give it that more classic rounded look. If you're okay with the gaps, you don't need to do it. I accidentally held this a little too close to my chest and moved it off camera. So I'm going to show you same thing, just from when I built the box out of just a different cardstock. I used the craft paper cardstock here. So you can see these little star shapes things are the corner pieces. The two straighter posts that appear to be in the middle, you're going to find your corner and you're going to slide them into the two perpendicular holes that are forming the edge. It can be a little tricky, it can be a little fussy, and sometimes it goes right in. And then the two outside flaps with the about 90-degree angle will fold down on top of that to create that cleaner look. And then just add a couple dots of glue. You can do it on the edge or on the flap, not a wrong way to glue it down. Just do what works for you. And again, I do like the tacky glue here just because it adds that extra grip, but also a little grace. So if you need to fuss and fidget, you can do that. And if you are using hot glue to build this, just be mindful you won't have a lot of time, and also consider that hot glue is temperature sensitive. So if you're going to transport these little recycle bins in a hot car, that glue might come loose. So choose your adhesive wisely based on the locations that you are going to bring your recycle bins to once your project's completed. The nice thing about this project is it's not just cool to look at, it's also got a lot of utility, especially for us crafters. I have made several of these recycle bins and I use them to hold the backing off of the adhesive foam tapes that I use for building some of the more dimensional things, for the little scraps that come off my mat when I'm doing intricate cuts off the electronic cutting machine. So there's a lot of things that you can use these scraps, these recycle bins for. They are pretty handy. And my kiddos like them too for when they're doing projects. So sometimes they just go walking off because a lot of people in this household seem to enjoy using these recycle bins. They are quite nice. So once you get your corners on, the next step is adding the topmost layer. And again, if you don't like, it's not necessary. It's just an aesthetic. So if you're happy with the corners as they are, you don't need to add that top frame piece. A lot of people do like it. If you are struggling a little bit with the corners, or one of those edges doesn't want to go quite in, we're back to the glue now. The pokey tool is really nice for helping align things if your fingers are not getting the job done. So here we're just putting that top frame piece on, and then we're going to just add the little recycle symbols. I am going to use my glue pen because the recycle symbol outline is a little more delicate. The tacky glue was just a little too goopy and a little too broad, so I'm going to get my glue pen. First thing, I'm going to make sure I line everything up properly, so when I set it down the way it should go. Put my glue on, cute little arrows. I think this is just the coolest finishing touch on this recycle bin project. It really adds the charm and character and makes it come to life. You need to make sure that you do line these arrows up because it's not an even design, even though it might appear to be. So it only goes on one way. So make sure that you've got it lined up that way. And now tacky glue back on, gluing it on the outside of the bin where I want the embellishment to show, and repeating it on the opposite side. And there you go. Now you have a lovely recycle bin all of your own. You can make as many as you want. I had a great time crafting with you today. I hope you did too. I hope you enjoy your new little recycling bins. These are so great. You can make as many of them as you want. And when yours wears out, you can just make it, recycle what's left, and then make another one. Happy crafting. Until next time, I'm Cassandra with Benchmark Boutique.